The ammunition you see featured in this episode of The Quiet Rifle came to me courtesy of Herman's Sporting Guns. They are the Australian distributor for FX air guns, and they sell a whole bunch of wonderful accessories. So if you like what you see, support the people who support me, just like my friends down at airriflesluggsaustralia.com, who are also now retailing for Element Optics, which I'm using on all my guns. So skip on over to their website as well. If you live in Queensland, they have a great range of NSA slugs, Element Optics scopes, and a whole bunch of other wonderful goodies. They're big supporters of the show as well. They send me ammo, and big thank you to them. If you need something, make those two shops your first stops. Solstice is come, darkest winter has fallen, and as such, the sun has been setting here in this lovely part of the world, northwestern southeast Queensland, at like 5:15 in the afternoon. So, it's always dark, it's always cold, it's been quite wet, things are falling over. But I figure now is as good a time as any because I'm using torches pretty much every day because I start work at 4:30 in the morning, and by the time I get back and I want to try and do some afternoon practice, whether it be archery or shooting, I need a torch and I need a good one. And this is what we're going to be talking about today, the Brinyte P18 Oathkeeper. This torch was sent to me by Brinyte. I didn't pay for it, but yeah, they asked me to do a review on it if I liked it, and usually the deal for me is if I don't like it, I don't make the review because life is too short to make negative reviews. I just send it back and I forget about it because these videos take too long to make. But there's no way I'm sending this back. This thing is sick. It is very powerful, and it's basically the same sort of level of torch as my old Nightcore P25, except it's updated in most ways. It's more powerful, it has a better interface, and it's sort of just as rugged and just as awesome. And it's in a cooler colour, because colour matters. It does matter. You got to get the one in Desert Tan. Desert Tan is usually sold out, so if you can get it in Desert Tan, get it. Basically, this torch is their sort of military and police tactical type torch, and it has features as such. So we're going to take a look in the box, and we're going to run through the specs on the website, and I'll roll in some footage of me shooting my target of an afternoon for practice after the sun's gone down. By the way, if you like what you see, there will be a code in the description. Marksman5 should give you 5% off. I'll get a little bit of a kickback so that I can buy beer and ammo and, waste it on good stuff. The price tag for the P18 is $155, and it comes in black and tan. It is a Cree XHP35 LED with 2000 lumens maximum output and 1870 minutes of maximum runtime. That is obviously on the lowest setting, so it certainly won't do that if you are punching out 2000 lumens, because it runs on an 18650 battery, and they're excellent batteries, but they only go so far. If you want a light that's brighter than the sun, don't expect it to run for very long like that, and don't expect it to not get hot. Physics still applies. It has a strobe and an SOS mode, and it will shoot a beam about 1100 feet or 360 meters if you live in the 21st century and you don't speak freedom units. The beam intensity is 32,000 CD. It is waterproof to IP68 standards. It is a 41mm head, 164mm long, or almost 6.5 inches. That's plenty. Weighs 170 grams or 6 ounces, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. There's 5 different lighting modes. The turbo mode obviously is the 2000 lumen mode, which is very, very bright. It's better than the torch that it's replacing for me. Not that I don't love my Nightcore, but the Nightcore is only 1000 lumens. It's an older torch. It's like previous generation of Cree LEDs or whatever. So it is nice to have something that's double the brightness on max power. High mode is 450 lumens. Middle mode is 60 lumens. Low mode is 10 lumens. Strobe is the full on turbo mode, and the SOS is only 60 lumens. So obviously, as you come down in the power settings, it's going to use less battery and it's going to last for longer and it will be able to run for longer without overheating. You can run it on one 18650 or two CR123s, and it has a regulated power supply which maintains constant brightness, and it will, once it starts getting hot and cooking that battery, if you leave it on turbo mode for too long, it will kick down to a lower brightness setting. Obviously, pretty much every torch like this is made out of the same stuff. It's made out of aircraft grade 6061 T6 aluminium, and it has, this particular one has the Type 3 military hard anodized anti-abrasive finish. And the finish is pretty good. I have a tendency to abuse my torches because I'm usually angry when I'm at work. I have road rage and I drive a truck for a living, which is infuriating. But I tend to drop things and throw things and don't treat them very well. And I'll show you some close-ups on this torch of some of the scuffs and marks that this thing has endured already. But it has a pretty good, pretty durable finish, and it's a really nice color. You like owning it because it's a good torch, but you also like owning it because of how it looks. And in the box it comes with the flashlight itself, the rechargeable battery, a tactical ring, which is this funky little badooba here, which I thought was a really stupid thing when I first saw it. I was like, why would you, what are we doing here? What do you need that for? But you can put your finger through it, flip it over, do whatever you're doing with your hands, and then flip it back over again. And it feels really nice in the hand. I'm sure if you were to use this in anger, it would certainly do some damage. Maybe you could take your finger out of the ring and use it to break glass, whatever. But the particular ring that I've got on this one, I'm quite sure this is the new production model. I've seen a few older reviews while these were still in their prototype phase, where it was just the same steel that they've used on the pocket clip, which is also attached on mine. But now it's a nice big piece of hardened aluminium by the looks of things, and it's a good solid thing, and it's really nice. I looked at it and I was like, why? But now that I've been using it, it's great, because the torch is also round, which means that if you put the torch down on something, it rolls away, but it only rolls until the ring hits down, and then it stops now. So it's one of those silly little things that you don't figure out until you use it. But the ring, it seems like a dumb idea, but it's really good. I really like the ring. And I will take the ring off when I mount it to my gun, but when I'm just using it as a work torch, it's super handy. It's very good. Comes with a lanyard as well, USB magnetic charging cable, 360-degree rotating holster, some spare O-rings, and a user's manual. And the user's manual in this is pretty good. I quite like it. It's better than the other one. And obviously all of this information is on the website. It's a good website. Everything is laid out nicely, and yeah, I highly recommend you going over there and checking it out, because it's all very self-explanatory and very easy to get the specs that you want, so you can compare it to whatever else it is that you're competing against in this same price range on the market. Now, Brinyte does things a little differently, and there's some differences between the P25 and this here P18 that I quite like. I like the P18 more than the P25. P25 has been an awesome torch. It has suffered 10 years of abuse. It has a wonderful patina on it. It looks like it's been to war and back. It hasn't, but I've abused it, and I've loved it this whole time. It's been a great torch. The only thing I've had to replace on it was the battery, because I recharged it so many times, and it's on its second battery in about 10 years, and it's still running good. It's still running good. But this old tech has this here flippy flappy waterproof charging cover, and it's the old school mini USB style charge. And on the new one, we don't have any flippy flappies. Flippy flappies work, but they break, and Brinyte has gone to a magnetic charging port, which is really good. It's you have to kind of balance the torch or lay it down and figure out how it's going to sit there, because if you bump it, the magnet isn't particularly strong, and it will come out if you bump it and if you're not careful while you're charging it. But it is better, I think, being able to charge it through the magnetic port rather than with a USB-C or a USB micro, whatever they're called, the little ones, because it's just better not having that rubber flap. It's so much better. And the P25 has two buttons, one on the back and one on the side. The one on the side this thing has like some weird little microprocessor computer inside it, and it's floating on some springs so that you can put it on a rifle and not damage it, which is nice. But it is very complex and very annoying to use. The P18 has basically just simplified that. There's nothing you don't really need on the P18. So you have the two buttons on the back. You've got straight to strobe for the small button on the angle, and the big button is straight to turbo. It's also a momentary switch, so you can sort of half hold it on and blast a big beam of light out without clicking it on. Or you can click it on, and there you go, big bright light, happy days. And after you've clicked it on, you can cycle through the brightness modes by pressing the smaller button. And I like that. It's good. It's very simple, and there's no confusion. There's no extra settings that you don't need. But I was sort of scratching my head. I was thinking, why? Because like every time you turn it on, it goes straight to turbo. And I guess that's a good thing to have if you are actually using it for tactical applications, because you kind of, with a white light, you kind of want all or nothing. But being that I've been using this at work and around the house and everything, I kind of wanted it to stay where I left it. I'd like to be able to leave it on like a low to medium brightness and just leave it there. And I was grumpy and sulking, and I was like, oh, this could have been such a great torch. But then I read the manual, imagine that. And the front button, you just click it, and it's the front one stays where you've left it. So this button on the side, you can also run through the brightness levels like that just by clicking it. But you click and hold, she turns off, and you click it again, turns back on, and that's right where you left it. You've got that same nice easy brightness, so you're not blowing your eyes out. You can also lock this button, so you can go click, click, click on it, and the little light will flash a couple of times, and that will turn that button off until you turn it back on again, so that you don't accidentally bump it, and then you're only using these big buttons at the back. So handy. I was grumpy, but it turns out they'd already figured that out, and that's basically the story of me and Brinyte. I send them an email, I'm like, why didn't you do this? And they're like, we did. All you have to do is this. And I'm like, oh, whatever, man. It's the problem with having a room temperature IQ in winter. Oh, I forgot to mention, they also sent me some extra stuff. They sent me this here magnetic holdery doodle, and you put the torch in that, and it sits magnetically onto whatever you want. It's designed for mounting it on a barrel of a rifle. However, I don't think I would do that personally, because it probably affects the harmonics of the barrel, and I'm using it for a hunting application, so I kind of need to be quite precise of what I'm doing with that. But it is handy for sticking it onto metal surfaces, when you're working on your car or whatever. You just like stick it onto something and it stays there for you, which is nice. But if you are looking to mount it onto a rifle and you don't want to use the magnetic holdery doodle, you can use a 25mm or 1-inch scope ring, because the main body of the tube is 1 inch. So, nice and cheap. You don't have to buy a specialist mount. You just buy it for whatever rail or, Weaver, Picatinny, whatever. 1-inch scope ring, you're good as gold, you're ready to go. They also come with, if you buy it with the tail switch, it comes with this nice tail switch. It's color coded, it has the nice desert tan color on the back of it, and you can screw that in, screw this bad boy off. By the way, the ring itself is easily removable if you are so inclined to not use the ring. You can use it just as a normal torch with no ring. And the pocket clip clips on and off nice and easily as well. So you get your nice traditionally shaped streamlined torch. But we'll pop this bad boy on. And there you go. Torch with a remote pressure switch. Sick. Front one, turbo, same as the back button. Rear one, stroby. Good times. Dance party. Darude Sandstorm. Best song ever written. Okie dokie. So I really have enjoyed my time with this this Brinyte torch. It's been great. It really is good. There's like the simplicity of it and the way that they've thought it through all of their features has been really good. Like I just get really annoyed when torches have settings that you don't need, and it's so nice to just have on and off buttons that stay where you left them, and then high power and cycle through. And instead of having to, like with this P25, you have to go in there and change all the settings by pressing the buttons, and it's very difficult and it's outdated, and it's a good torch, but it's just not as well thought out. And I'm sure obviously Nitecore has newer models. This has been discontinued for years. It's just such a durable torch that I haven't had to replace it. So it will still live on. It will probably roll around in the back of my ute for the next 20 years and still be working. But human interface has come a long way, and Brinyte is taking us there, and I really like this here PT18 Oathkeeper. Very nice. Good torch. So if you want one, click on the links in the description, have a float around, shop around, see what you can find, and compare it with the other torches on the market, because there are a lot of other great torches on the market, but this thing is particularly nice looking. It's well made, it's durable. Sick. Looks great, feels great, and it has that little tactical ring thingy, which I really love. I'm putting that back on. And I think it's a great option for an all-round torch. If you want one torch that pretty much does everything really well, this is it. Reasonably priced, competitively priced with everything else on the market, and an excellent thing to put on your shopping list because the days are short and you need a torch to go outside and shoot. So, that's it. See you next time.